He fed 2 alien sisters. 10 minutes later, soldiers came to arrest him. The hum of the fusion core thrummed through the workshop, a steady pulse cutting through the chaos outside. Aiden Cross, 34, wiped sweat from his brow, his calloused hands tightening a bolt with a worn wrench. Mining Station Kappa 7 clung to its orbit around a dying star, its rusted platforms and flickering lights barely holding together. 12,000 laborers toiled in dust-choked corridors, their lives grinding like the machinery around them. The air was thick with the tang of oil and despair, a place where hope flickered as faintly as the star outside. The chorus chain, 80 kilograms of cold metal, hung heavy around Aiden's neck. Its 144 beads clinked with every move, each one plus weight heavier than steel, a life he'd taken as a Helian wraith. He tested the core, its green glow steady on his scanner, and muttered, "Good enough." Grabbing his tool bag, he stepped into the main hall, where voices bounced off dented walls, sharp and raw. Near a food stall piled with gray nutrient bars, 2 women argued with a merchant. One had silver hair, her voice sharp, cutting through the din. "Look, we just need one. We'll pay later, I swear." The other, younger, with rose gold hair, tugged her arm, whispering, "Lyra, don't." Aiden paused, something in their desperation tugging at him. The merchant sneered, "No credits, no food. Move on." Aiden's stomach growled. He hadn't eaten since yesterday. Still, he stepped forward, sliding his last nutrient bar across the counter. "For them," he said, voice low, barely glancing at the women before turning away. The merchant shrugged, and the silver-haired one, Lyra, called out, "Hey, wait! Why'd you do that?" But Aiden kept walking, the chain's weight pulling him forward. Minutes later, a golden-purple glow flooded the station, spilling through cracked windows. Alarm klaxons wailed, and the crowd froze. Aiden's gut tightened as 47 sleek ships, Royal Aurelian vessels, hovered outside, their hulls glinting like blades. An imperial inspection unannounced. Whispers spread. "The fleet! What do they want with us?" The answer came fast. Guards in silver armor stormed the hall, their pulse rifles humming. Lyra's silver hair caught their eyes first. "Princess Lyra Vale," one barked, grabbing her arm. The younger one, Marin, gasped, "No, don't!" Aiden moved a step back, but a guard's rifle jabbed his chest. "You're with them," the guard growled, "aiding fugitives." Aiden's hands raised slowly, the chain clinking louder now. "I just gave them food. That's all," he said. But the guards weren't listening. "Maybe you weren't need to." Nurse, from the shadows, a weary laborer watched, her hands trembling as she clutched a worn tool. She leaned to her friend, whispering, "The Empire's cruelty, they'll take anyone, even a nobody like him. What's it mean for us?" Her friend shook his head, eyes on the floor, fearing for their own families trapped in Kappa 7's grind. Shackles snapped onto Aiden's wrists, the cold metal biting his skin. Lyra and Marin were cuffed too, their faces pale but defiant. The guards marched them to a sleek Imperial shuttle, its engines humming at dope 8 light seconds per minute, bound for Aurelian Prime. Inside, the air was sterile, the seats hard. Aiden sat alone in a holding cell, the chain's beads pressing into his chest. Flashes of his past hit hard, blood on his hands, screams of those he'd killed as a wraith. Was it a mistake? "Helping them," he muttered, gripping the chain. Each bead felt alive, heavy with guilt. Across the shuttle, Lyra sat in her own cell, her bright eyes locked on Aiden through a narrow viewport. The chorus chain caught her gaze, its beads glinting under the shuttle's harsh lights. She leaned closer, noticing a faint hum, almost a whisper from the metal. "Mother's work," she murmured, her voice barely audible. Her fingers twitched as if she could feel the chain's pulse from meters away. Marin beside her clutched her hand, whispering, "Lyra, what is it?" Lyra didn't answer, but her eyes stayed on Aiden, on the chain, on something deeper. The shuttle's engines roared, pulling them toward the capital. Aiden's jaw tightened, his mind racing. He'd wanted a quiet life, to bury his sins in the station's dust. Now, caught with two princesses, he was heading straight into the Empire's heart. The chain hummed softly like a warning or a promise. Lyra's voice cut through the silence, sharp but quiet through the cell wall. "You? What's your name?" "Aiden," he said, voice rough. "Aiden Cross." "Oh my... Well, Aiden Cross." Lyra paused, her tone biting yet curious. "That chain, it's not just guilt, is it?" He didn't answer, but his grip on the beads tightened. The hum grew louder, just for a moment, as if the chain itself was listening. The shuttle shuddered as it entered Aurelian Prime's orbit, the crystal spires of the capital glinting below. 3 billion souls lived under Severin's rule, a city of silver and light masking a core of control. Aiden felt the weight of it all, the chain, the princesses, the Empire's gaze. Whatever came next, he knew one thing. Kappa 7's shadows were gone. He was exposed and the chorus chain was singing. The shuttle touched down with a soft hiss, its ramp lowering onto polished silver floors that gleamed under crystal lights. Aiden blinked against the brightness, the chain clinking as guards shoved him forward. Aurelian Prime sprawled below and around them, a city of towering spires that caught the light like frozen stars. Silver domes curved over bustling streets, home to 3 billion citizens all bent under Severin's iron rule. The air hummed with clean energy, a far cry from Kappa 7's grit. But Aiden felt no relief, only the weight pulling him deeper into something bigger. They marched him through echoing halls lined with guards, past nobles in violet robes, who whispered and stared. 200 of them filled the grand court, their faces painted with boredom and cruelty. Severin waited on a throne of polished crystal, his silver blue skin flawless, cropped platinum hair framing cold eyes. At 45, he looked every bit the regent, his purple and gold robe draped like a king's. "Bring the penitent," he said, voice smooth as velvet, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Aiden was shoved to the center, the chain dragged across the floor with a harsh scrape. Laughter rippled through the nobles as Severin stood. "Behold the penitent's burden," he announced, gesturing to the chorus chain. 80 kilograms of shame for crimes against the Empire. Amusing, isn't it? The crowd chuckled, one noble calling, "Make him dance for it." Aiden's jaw clenched, but he stood tall, the beads pressing into his skin like accusations. From a side chamber, Lyra watched through a barred window, her silver hair loose, her gray traveler's cloak torn. A guard blocked her path, but she snapped, "Step aside, we're allowed to observe." "Remember the regent's orders?" The guard hesitated. "You're confined, princess." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Confined, not blind. And if you think this hypocrisy fools anyone..." She trailed off, her wit sharp as a blade, forcing the guard to mutter and step back. Marin huddled beside her, rose gold hair framing a pale face, her sea blue eyes wide with anxiety. She whispered, "Lyra, he's going to hurt them all. Uncle's plans, they're worse than we thought." Her voice trembled, but she squeezed Lyra's hand. "We have to stay strong for Mother." Lyra nodded, her guarded heart softening just a bit. Marin's quiet strength shone through, a gentle anchor in the storm. Severin circled Aiden, his boots clicking. "You aided traitors, mechanic, but I'm merciful." His voice dropped, velvet and tempting. "Denounce them publicly. Call the princesses liars, fugitives. Do it and you walk free. No chain, no cells." The court leaned in, waiting. Aiden met Severin's gaze, gray eyes steady. The chain's weight grounded him, each bead a vow he wouldn't break. Silence stretched. He said nothing, just stood there, unyielding. Severin's smile faded. Stubborn. But in the shadows, a court scribe dipped his quill, loyal to the old empress. He scribbled Aiden's defiance, heart racing. This man, this chain, it could signal a shift, a crack in Severin's tyranny. The scribe glanced up, hope flickering. Maybe the Empire wasn't lost yet. Later, in a dim side room, Lyra slipped past guards with a stolen key card. Aiden sat chained to a wall, shoulders raw from the metal's rub. She knelt, pulling a cloth from her cloak. "Hold still," she said, dabbing at the wounds. Her touch was careful, almost gentle. "This thing, it's cutting you apart." The beads pulsed faintly under her fingers, a soft glow. Aiden winced. "Doesn't matter," but Lyra's eyes widened. "It's alive. Kind of. The hum, it's stronger now." Severin stormed back into the court, frustration boiling. "Lock him up tighter," he barked at the guards. "And prepare the public ceremony. We break him there. Broadcast to all 1,200 star systems. Let the Empire see a traitor kneel." Nobles nodded, eager for the show. Aiden was dragged away, but Lyra's whisper followed him through the bars. "Wait. Listen to me." She pressed close, voice low. "That chain, it's not just yours. It was my mother's creation, Empress Celine. It holds more than guilt. Memories, voices. You're the one who can hear them." Aiden's breath caught, the beads warming against his chest. What do you mean?" he asked, kinda shocked. Lyra glanced back, urgent. "You'll see. Just don't give in." Marin joined her, whispering, "He's the warden, isn't he? Like Mother said." Lyra nodded, her decisive mind racing. The court's laughter echoed outside, but in that moment, the three were linked, by chain, by fate. Aiden gripped the beads, feeling the faint pulse, a hint of something ancient stirring. Severin's threat loomed, the ceremony days away. But Lyra's words planted a seed. More than guilt. Redemption, maybe. The palace lights dim for the night, crystal walls reflecting the stars. Aiden lay in his cell, the chain humming softly. 3 billion watched from afar, unaware. But the scribe's notes spread in whispers. The guard's doubt grew, and Lyra's care lingered like a promise. The Empire's heart beat faster now, pulling them toward the ceremony's edge. Severin paced his chambers, arrogance masking worry. They'll kneel, all of them. But deep down, the hum echoed in his mind, uninvited. Aiden's silence had cracked something, small but real. Lyra and Marin huddled, planning in shadows. "We use him," Lyra said. "The chain, it's our weapon." Marin nodded, fear turning to resolve. Aiden alone touched a bead. Voices, faint, calling. The court's spectacle was just the start. The grand amphitheater of Aurelian Prime shimmered under a dome of crystal, its light fracturing into rainbows across the crowd. 4 trillion eyes watched via neural feeds, their signals stretching across the Empire's 1,200 star systems. Aiden stood at the center, wrists bound, the chorus chain heavy on his shoulders. The 80-kilogram weight felt heavier today, its 144 beads glinting like accusations under the glare. Nobles packed the tiers, their murmurs a low buzz, while Severin loomed on a raised dais, his purple robe catching the light like spilled wine. "People of the Empire!" Severin's voice boomed through neural projectors, each syllable pressing into the crowd's minds. "This man, this traitor, dares defy your regent." He pointed at Aiden, his smile sharp. "Kneel, mechanic! Beg for mercy!" The command echoed, amplified to shake bones. Aiden's gray eyes flicked up, steady, unyielding. The chain clinked softly, and then it hummed, a deep vibration that sent a cracked spider webbing through a nearby crystal pillar. Gas rippled through the crowd. A noble dropped his glass, and it shattered, loud in the sudden silence. Aiden felt the hum in his chest, like a pulse not his own. What? What was that? He glanced at Lyra, confined in a silver cage to the side, her silver hair catching the light. Her eyes met his, urgent, as if she knew. Marin stood beside her, rose gold hair trembling, her hands clenched tight. In a stolen moment before the ceremony, Lyra had leaned close through the bars of their holding area. "Listen, Aiden." Her voice was low, sharp. "That chain, it's not just metal. It's a quantum resonance device. My mother's design. It holds the memories of 144 souls, sacrificed for the Empire." Aiden's breath caught, the beads warm against his skin. "Memories? How?" he'd asked, well, kind of stunned. Lyra's eyes had burned. "You're the warden, the one who can hear them. Don't you feel it?" Now standing before the Empire, Aiden did feel it. The hum grew, a chorus of whispers he couldn't quite grasp. He wasn't just a killer. He was something more. Something chosen. The weight wasn't only guilt, it was purpose. But what did it mean? His mind raced, torn between the past he carried and the power Lyra described. Marin's voice broke through, soft but firm from her cage. "Aiden, I need to tell you something." She glanced at Lyra, who nodded. I'm not Celine's real daughter. I'm the charter key, a living code to restore the Empire's laws. My death on record. It'll strip Severin's power." Her sea blue eyes held fear but resolve. "I'm ready, but you have to help us." Aiden's heart thudded. Help them? Risk everything? If he unleashed the chain's power, whatever it was, millions could die in the chaos of civil war. But if he did nothing, Severin's tyranny would choke the Empire forever. I don't know if I can," he muttered, voice rough. Lyra leaned forward, her cage creaking. "Don't fight him, Aiden. Don't kill. Let the galaxy see the truth." In the broadcast room, a young technician froze, her fingers hovering over the controls. The chain's hum bled through the feed, a low thrum that made her skin prickle. She whispered to herself, "Is this hope?" Her screen flickered, showing Aiden's face, his gray eyes unbowed. She hesitated, torn between duty and a gut feeling that this was bigger than Severin's lies. Severin's voice cut through and again, sharper now. "Kneel or die." The crowd held its breath, waiting for Aiden to break. But the chain hummed louder, its beads glowing faintly. Aiden stood taller, the weight grounding him. He wouldn't kneel, not to this. Severin's smile twisted, and he raised a hand. "Then let's make this interesting." He turned to the crowd, voice dripping charm. "Tonight, I announce my betrothal to Princess Lyra Vale, securing our Empire's future." Lyra's cage rattled as she surged forward. "You'll never rule through me," she spat, her voice echoing. The nobles gasped, some whispering rebellion, others fear. Marin clutched Lyra's arm, whispering, "We're with you. Always." Aiden's fists clenched, the chain's hum now a steady pulse. Severin's betrothal wasn't just control, it was a lock on the throne, a chain tighter than Aiden's own. The amphitheater's lights dimmed, the broadcast feed zooming in on Severin's smug face. Aiden felt the eyes of trillions, the weight of their hope and fear. The chain's whispers grew clearer. Not words, but feelings. Anger, loss, resolve. He wasn't just carrying guilt, he was carrying them. Lyra's plea echoed in his mind. The truth, not violence. But how? The ceremony's tension coiled tighter, a spring ready to snap. Severin stepped closer, voice low, venomous. "You think you can defy me, mechanic? This empire is mine." Aiden met his gaze, the chain's hum drowning out the threat. "You're wrong," he said, quiet but firm. "It's theirs." He nodded toward the crowd, the empire beyond. Severin's eyes narrowed, sensing a shift he couldn't control. The technician in the broadcast room bit her lip, her hand trembling over the controls. The hum was louder now, bleeding into every feed. She didn't know why. but she let it run, unfiltered. Across the empire, screens flickered, the chain's song touching hearts. Aiden stood at the center, the warden awakening, the ceremony teetering on the edge of chaos. The palace's underbelly was cold, its hidden chamber carved from obsidian and etched with swirling patterns that glowed faintly under Lyra's touch. Aiden followed her and Marin through a narrow passage, the chorus chain clinking with each step. Lyra had slipped them past the guards with a stolen key card, her silver hair tucked under a hood. Marin's rose-gold locks glimmered in the dim light, her steps hesitant but resolute. The air smelled of ancient stone and secrets, a place untouched by Severin's polished tyranny. Lyra knelt by a wall panel, her fingers tracing Empress Celine's designs. "This is where she worked," she said, voice low but sharp. "The chorus chain. It's more than memory. It's a weapon." She tapped a glyph, and a hollow display flickered, showing the chain's schematics. Extended resonance mode. It can broadcast those 144 souls across every Imperial network. 10 light-year radius. Aiden's breath caught. Broadcast? What exactly? He asked. Well, kind of thrown. "The truth," Lyra said, eyes blazing. "Their voices, their sacrifices. It'll show what Severin's hiding." Marin stepped forward, her sea-blue eyes steady despite her trembling hands. "And I have to die on record. The charter key in me, it's a genetic code. My legal death triggers the old constitution, strips Severin's power." She swallowed hard. "I'm ready, but I need you both." Aiden gripped the chain, its beads warm, humming softly. Those voices, he heard them now, faint whispers of courage and pain. But doubt gnawed at him. "I took those lives," he muttered. "Me, a killer. How am I supposed to wield this?" The weight felt heavier, not just metal but responsibility. Was he worthy? Lyra's hand brushed his arm, firm. "You carry them, Aiden. That's why it's you." The hollow display pulsed, showing the chain's core, a micro-singularity, a pinpoint of energy that could override any signal. Lyra mapped out the plan, her voice crisp, decisive. "Severin's wedding to me. It's our chance. We disrupt the broadcast, expose him, trigger Marin's claws." She glanced at Marin, who nodded, her gentle face set with purpose. "It's now or never," Marin whispered. Outside, a palace guard lingered near the passage, his helmet catching the faint glow of a security node. He'd overheard them, his loyalty to Celine's memory stirring. He tapped his comm, disabling the node with a quiet click, his heart racing. This was treason. But it felt right. The Empire deserved better than Severin's lies. Severin, meanwhile, paced his command chamber, his silver-blue skin taut with suspicion. "Double the guards," he snapped into a comm. 5,000 now, and activate neural surveillance." His voice was calm, but his eyes darted. The chain's hum at the ceremony had rattled him, a sound he couldn't place. "No one defies me," he hissed alone, his arrogance masking a flicker of fear. Aiden sat against the chamber wall, the chain's whispers louder now. Names, faces, lives he'd ended. But they weren't accusing him. They were guiding him. He looked at Lyra, her silver hair catching the glyph's glow. "All right," he said, voice rough but firm. "I'm in. But if this goes wrong..." He trailed off, the stakes clear. Lyra's lips twitched, almost a smile. "It won't. You're the warden." Marin pulled a small device from her cloak, a signal jammer. "This'll help," she said, soft but sure. "It'll mask the chain's activation. For a bit." Her hands shook, but her eyes were bright, her fear turning to strength. Aiden nodded, feeling the chain pulse, its quantum core ready. "So we hit the wedding, broadcast the truth, and you die on feed," he said, piecing it together. Marin nodded. "Exactly." Lyra synchronized their moves, her voice cutting through the chamber's hum. "We get one shot. Severin's got drones. 10,000. amplifying the wedding feed. We used the chain to override it. She locked eyes with Aiden. You ready to change the galaxy, Cross? He didn't answer right away, the whispers swelling in his mind. He was ready, or he'd have to be. The chamber's glyphs dimmed, the plan set. They slipped back through the passage, shadows among shadows. The palace buzzed above, guards patrolling, drones humming. Severin's wedding loomed, a spectacle to lock his rule. But the chain hummed louder, its voices clearer, urging Aiden forward. Lyra's plan was bold, Marin's sacrifice braver still. The Empire's fate hung on them, a fragile thread in a tightening noose. The crystal amphitheater pulsed with light, its vast dome refracting colors across 10,000 hovering drones. Their feeds broadcasted to 1,200 planets, every screen alive with Severin's wedding to Lyra. The crowd, a sea of nobles and dignitaries, buzzed with forced cheer, their violet robes shimmering under Aurelium Prime's artificial stars. Severin stood tall on the dais, his silver-blue skin gleaming, purple robe trailing like a conqueror's flag. Lyra, in a silver-violet gown, stood rigid beside him, her silver hair braided tight, her eyes burning with defiance. Aiden entered as a repentant guest, escorted by guards, his dark gray jacket hiding the chorus chain's faint glow. The 80-kilogram weight pulled at him, but its hum steadied his nerves. He scanned the crowd, spotting Marin in a pearl-colored dress, her rose-gold hair loose, her face pale but set. The plan was in motion: override the broadcast, expose Severin, trigger Marin's claws. Failure wasn't an option. Severin raised a hand, voice smooth through neural projectors. Today we unite the Empire. My bride, Princess Lyra, secures our future. The crowd cheered, but Lyra's jaw tightened. Aiden caught her glance, a signal. He shifted, fingers brushing the chain's beads. The hum swelled, a low thrum that made the drones flicker. Now or never, he muttered, well, kind of under his breath. He pressed a bead, activating extended resonance mode. The chain vibrated, its quantum core flaring. A deep hum surged, overriding the drone feeds. Screens across the Empire flickered, then flooded with raw data. Images, voices, memories of the 144 souls. Severin's face vanished, replaced by neural patterns, cold and synthetic. The crowd gasped as the truth hit. He's a biosynthetic clone, a noble shouted, controlled by the Cabal. It's all a lie, another cried, panic spreading. Severin's eyes widened, his charm cracking. Cut the feed, he roared, but the chain's signal drowned out his command. Aiden stood firm, the hum pulsing through him, the voices of the one who pour clear now. Anger, sorrow, hope. Lyra seized the moment, stepping forward. People of the Empire, her voice cut through the chaos, regal and steady. See your regent for what he is, a puppet of greed. The crowd roared, some in shock, others in rage. Marin moved next, her gentle frame stepping into the light. I renounce my title, she declared, voice soft but unyielding. As Charter Key, I invoke the old laws. Her words triggered the constitutional clause, screens flashing with legal codes from Empress Celine's era. Severin's authority dissolved in real time, his regency nullified before trillions. Marin's legal death was complete, her sacrifice a spark in the dark. Severin's face twisted. Guards, kill them, he screamed, pointing at Aiden and the sisters. Now! But the chain hummed louder, its frequency spiking. Energy weapons fizzled, their circuits fried by the resonance. Guards froze, rifles useless, as the crowd's murmurs grew to a roar. Aiden stepped between Severin and the sisters, the chain glowing brighter, its song a chorus of 144 voices echoing through the amphitheater. Lyra grabbed Marin's hand, pulling her close. Stay with me, she whispered, her voice fierce yet warm. Marin nodded, sea blue eyes bright with courage. Aiden felt the chain's weight shift, not lighter but shared, as if the souls within were with him. He faced Severin, gray eyes cold. "Your lies end here," he said, calm but final. The crowd surged, nobles turning on guards, chaos erupting. Severin lunged for a control panel, his fingers scrambling for a hidden switch. "You think you've won?" he spat. "This empire is mine." But the chain's hum drowned him out, its signal locking every drone on the truth. Across the empire, citizens watched. Miners on Kappa 7, families on distant colonies, all seeing the clone's betrayal. The amphitheater shook with their voices, a tide turning against tyranny. Aiden held his ground, the chain's song swelling. Lyra rallied the crowd, her voice rising. "This is our empire, not his." The nobles hesitated, some kneeling to her, others fleeing. Marin stood tall, her death now a symbol of rebirth. The drones hovered, their feeds unyielding, broadcasting the truth to every corner of the galaxy. Severin's guards faltered, loyalty crumbling as the chain's frequency held them at bay. The moment hung, the empire holding its breath. Aiden felt the 144 souls, soldiers, dreamers, parents, urging him forward. He didn't need to fight, not with fists or guns. The truth was enough. Lyra's eyes met his, a nod of trust. Marin's hand brushed the chain, its glow softening. The amphitheater's crystal walls cracked further, a physical echo of Severin's fall. The wedding was no more, only justice remained. The amphitheater trembled, its crystal walls webbed with cracks as the chorus chain's hum crescendoed. Aiden stood at the center, the 80-kilogram chain glowing, its 144 voices a roaring symphony in his chest. Severin's silver-blue face twisted with rage, his purple robe flapping as he slammed a fist against the dais. "You think this ends me?" he screamed, voice cracking through the neural projectors. "I am the Empire." But the crowd's roar drowned him, nobles and citizens turning, their loyalty fracturing like the walls. Severin's hand darted to his belt, fingers closing on a concealed device. "Enough!" he spat, activating a hidden bioweapon, a neural pulse meant to seize control of every mind in the amphitheater. A low whine filled the air, and the crowd clutched their heads, eyes wide with panic. Aiden staggered, the pulse clawing at his thoughts. But the chorus chain flared brighter, its quantum core humming louder. "No, you don't get to win," he growled, gripping the beads. The chain's resonance surged, a wave of energy that swallowed the pulse. The micro-singularity at its core pulsed, neutralizing the attack, leaving the crowd gasping but free. Severin's eyes widened, his charm gone, replaced by raw fear. "Impossible!" he shouted, stumbling back. Guards loyal to Lyra moved fast, their silver armor clanking as they surrounded him. One raised a stasis gun, firing a shimmering net. Severin's clone body froze mid-scream, encased in a tissue stasis cell, his face locked in a snarl. Lyra stepped forward, her silver-violet gown catching the light, her voice steady. "It's over, Uncle." She turned to the crowd, regal and fierce. "This empire belongs to its people." The drones, still broadcasting to 1,200 star systems, caught every word. Across the galaxy, citizens cheered. Miners on Kappa 7, families on distant colonies, all witnessing the truth. 4 trillion souls felt the shift, their faith in the Empire reborn. Marin moved beside Lyra, her pearl-colored dress swaying, rose-gold hair framing a face no longer pale with fear. Medical scanners hummed, confirming her death was a simulation, her charter key code fulfilled. I'm free," she whispered, sea-blue eyes bright. She touched Lyra's arm, then Aiden's, a smile breaking through. "We did it. Together." The chain's hum softened, its glow steady, as if the 144 souls approved. Lyra raised a hand, her first decree as acting regent ringing out. "Dismantle the surveillance network. No more eyes in the shadows." The crowd roared approval, nobles kneeling, guards lowering their useless rifles. Aiden felt the chain's weight shift, not lighter but shared, a purpose he hadn't known he could carry. The Empire named him Warden of the Chorus, guardian of the 144 souls' memories, their voices now his guide. Across the galaxy, screens flared with celebration. On a distant colony, a farmer paused. His family gathered around a flickering feed. "They did it! The Empire's free," he muttered, hope in his weathered voice. From Kappa 7 to the farthest stars, 2 million volunteers began rebuilding, inspired by the broadcasts. The truth had sparked a fire, and it burned bright. Lyra stood alone later, in a quiet chamber, her fingers brushing the chorus chain. She felt her mother's presence, Empress Celine's wisdom, her sacrifice woven into the beads. "I'll make you proud," she whispered, vowing to honor that legacy. The hum was gentle now, a lullaby of memory. She wasn't alone. The souls were with her, guiding her as regent. Aiden, Lyra, and Marin met at dawn, their bond forged in the crucible of truth. They stood on a balcony, the chain between them, its glow a soft pulse. "We're not just survivors," Lyra said, her voice warm but firm. "We're builders now." Marin nodded, her gentle strength shining. "We'll make it better, for everyone." Aiden's gray eyes softened, the chain no longer a shackle. "For them," he said, meaning the 144, the Empire, the future. But as they spoke, a faint signal crackled from a border station, its message sharp and clear. "To Warden Aiden Cross, we hear your song." Aiden's breath caught. "What? Who's out there?" he muttered. "Well, kind of uneasy." Lyra's eyes narrowed, Marin's hand tightened on the chain. The signal wasn't just noise. It was a call, a hint of voices waiting in the void. The Empire was free, but something else stirred beyond its edges. The amphitheater's cracks were repaired, but the memory of that day lingered. Aiden walked its halls, the chain's hum a constant companion. He wasn't the killer he'd been, nor just the mechanic. He was the warden, chosen by the 144, bound to Lyra and Marin by more than fate. Severin's stasis cell sat in a guarded vault, his clone body studied for the Cabal's secrets. No clone would rise again, not on their watch. The Empire buzzed with change, its people awake. Aiden felt the chain's pulse, its voices clearer now. Not accusations, but allies. Lyra's decrees spread, Marin's courage inspired, and Aiden's role grew. "This isn't the end," he thought, staring at the stars. The signal's words echoed, a promise of challenges to come, a song yet to be sung. The sun rose over Aurelian Prime, its light scattering through crystal spires, bathing the city in a soft glow. Lyra stood in the council chamber, her silver hair loose, her silver-violet gown replaced by a simple tunic. She addressed 300 regional councilors, their faces a mix of hope and skepticism. "Power belongs to you now," she said, voice clear and firm. "No more regents, no more clones." The councilors nodded, some cautiously, as her reforms took root, redistributing authority across 1,200 star systems. Marin worked in a lab nearby, her rose gold hair tied back, sea blue eyes focused on a holodisplay. Her team of scientists, freed from Severin's shadow, developed tech to heal planets scarred by his mining operations. "This could restore Kappa 7's atmosphere," she said. "Well, kind of excited," pointing to a blueprint for a terraformer. Her gentle demeanor hid a fierce mind, now unburdened by the charter key's weight. She was no longer a code, but a builder of worlds. Aiden traveled to a distant colony, the chorus chain humming softly around his neck. Its 80 kilograms felt different now, not a shackle, but a badge. He stood before a crowd of miners, their faces weathered like Kappa 7's. "These voices," he said, touching the 144 beads, "they're yours too. They teach us compassion, accountability. The miners listened, eyes wide, as the chain's memories played through a portable hollow, showing lives lost but not forgotten. Each morning, Aiden, Lyra, and Marin met in a quiet chamber, the chain between them. They held it together, its weight shared, its hum a steady pulse. "It's not guilt anymore," Aiden said, his gray eyes calm. Lyra nodded, her voice warm. "It's unity, a link to those we've lost." Marin smiled, her fingers brushing a bead. "And to what we're building." The ritual grounded them, a vow to keep the Empire whole. Across the galaxy, 2 million volunteers rebuilt infrastructure, inspired by the wedding's broadcast. On a scorched planet, a worker paused, wiping sweat from her brow. "They showed us the truth," she told her crew, her voice thick with pride. "Now we make it last." Roads rose, power grids hummed, and trust grew, rooted in Lyra's decrees and Marin's innovations. The Empire was no longer a machine. It was alive. Severin's stasis cell sat in a sealed vault, his clone body studied by Marin's team. "No more like him," she murmured, analyzing his neural patterns. The Cabal's secrets unraveled, their hidden networks exposed. Lyra ensured no clone could rise again, her decrees banning biosynthetic tech. Her leadership balanced strength and empathy, winning even the hardest nobles. One, once loyal to Severin, bowed low. "You're different," he admitted. "Well, kind of odd." Marin's passion bloomed in her lab, her team designing clean energy grids powered by stellar cores. "This could light a whole system," she said, her soft voice carrying new confidence. She wasn't just the Charter Key's shadow anymore. She was a force, her innovations healing scars left by greed. Her sea-blue eyes sparkled as she tweaked a grid's output, dreaming of planets green again. Aiden found peace in his role, the chain's song no longer a punishment but a guide. He walked the colony streets, sharing the 144 souls' stories, soldiers who fought, parents who sacrificed, dreamers who dared. "They're with us," he told a young girl, her eyes wide. The chain hummed, its voices clear, urging him to listen, to remember, to keep going. But the border signal grew stronger, its message sharp in the night. "To Warden Aiden Cross, we hear your song." "Who?" Aiden whispered, standing alone on a balcony, the chain warm against his chest. The signal wasn't random. It was a call, deliberate from beyond the Empire's edge. Lyra joined him, her silver hair catching starlight. "Trouble?" she asked, voice low. Aiden shrugged, uneasy. "Maybe, or something more." Marin appeared, her pearl-colored dress swaying. "The signal's frequency, it matches the chains," she said, her mind already racing. The trio exchanged glances, the weight of their bond heavier now. The Empire was rebuilding, its 3 billion citizens united under Lyra's transparent rule. But the signal hinted at voices still unheard, challenges waiting in the dark. Aiden gripped the chain, its hum steady. "We're not done," he thought, the stars above burning brighter. The Aurelian Empire stretched under a clearer sky, its crystal spires on Aurelian Prime gleaming brighter than before. 3 billion citizens moved with purpose, united by a transparent constitution that echoed Empress Celine's vision. No more hidden cabals or regents' whims. Laws flowed from the people, reforms taking root across 1,200 star systems. Lyra's decrees had sparked it all, her leadership a steady light in the void. In a public archive at the palace's heart, the chorus chain rested on a pedestal, its 144 beads glowing softly. Visitors came daily, touching a hollow interface to hear the voices, stories of sacrifice, wisdom from the fallen. "It's not just history," a scholar murmured. "Well, kind of awed," as the hum filled the room. The chain's legacy lived, a guardian of memory for all who sought it, binding past to present. Lyra stood in a diplomatic hall, her silver hair framing a determined face. She outlined plans to expand ties, reaching out to 50 neighboring star systems for peace. "We offer hands, not chains," she said to envoys, her voice sharp but inviting. Skeptical at first, the envoys nodded, drawn by her vision of shared stars. The Empire wasn't conquering anymore. It was connecting, building bridges across the galaxy. Marin's lab buzzed with energy. Her team huddled over a prototype. Inspired by the Chorus chain, they developed a resonance shield, a field to protect planets from cosmic storms. "This could save billions," Marin said, her sea blue eyes bright, rose gold hair tucked behind an ear. She tested the shield, its hum echoing the chains, a breakthrough born from her freed mind. No longer the charter key, she was the innovator, her gentle strength healing the Empire's wounds. Aiden packed a small ship, the chain around his neck humming with anticipation. The border signal called stronger now, its message a whisper from lost souls beyond the Empire's edge. "I have to go," he told Lyra and Marin, his gray eyes steady. "It's them calling." He believed it was voices like the once four waiting to be heard, his journey as warden just beginning. On a distant colony, a child sat under a starry sky, listening to the chain story through a communal hollow. Her family worked the fields, scarred by old storms, but she dreamed big. "I'll be a guardian like Aiden," she whispered to her sibling, eyes wide with wonder. The tale inspired her, a spark in the Empire's vast reach, showing how one song could echo forever. Lyra, Marin, and Aiden shared a quiet moment in the palace gardens, the air soft with blooming flowers. They reflected on their path, the capture, the confrontation, the triumph. "We carried the weight," Lyra said, her voice calm, hand on the chain. Marin nodded, her smile gentle, and turned it to strength. Aiden felt their bond, forged in compassion and truth, unbreakable now. Aiden smiled, his voice resolute. "We're not done yet. There are still voices out there that need to be heard." The words hung in the air, a promise to the galaxy. Lyra's eyes met his. Marin's hand squeezed theirs. The chain glowed softly between them, its hum a chorus of agreement. They stood on a balcony overlooking the thriving city, the chain's light mingling with the stars. A new star appeared in the sky, bright and steady, a beacon of hope. The Empire renewed, its people bound by memory and compassion. Redemption wasn't a lone path, but a shared song, linking the living to the lost. The core message lingered, unspoken but felt. In listening, in remembering, true freedom bloomed. The trio watched the horizon, ready for whatever voices called next. The Aurelian Empire wasn't just surviving, it was alive, its future a harmony of blood, memory, and truth.